Worst is over.
No pass pawns for white.
Worst is over, man. This might be a draw.
Yeah, and it's equal pawns. And if it's a draw, that means Hikaru actually takes the match. He knocks out Magnus Carlsen to go into the grand final. Magnus there missing a big opportunity, but Hikaru is going to have to defend this till the very end.
It's going to be very difficult because of the pawn structure. Look at Black's pawns. They're loose no matter where your head turns to. And there's a pawn hanging. Black can take White's pawn on b2, but that won't be a good idea because White will deliver a check and win this d6 pawn. And in this kind of endgame, it's often about the quality of the pawns. And if White can win a pass pawn there, if we just show this line, queen b2, check, take on d6 with check, and the important point is the d5 pawn will run to the other side. We'll see a second queen appear. White will win this game. So Hikaru sees this, and now he's deep in the think tank. He really doesn't have that much time. Magnus actually can flag Hikaru here. 3 minutes is not that much compared to your opponent's 5.
This is tough. This actually is tough. I mean, queen end games are the hardest ones. And go through your, open up your Devereski page 687, right? When you get there, and it's going to tell you about the queen end games that are very hard, like this one. But yeah, queen e5 I thought was a move, but like it's definitely difficult. Very hard to defend this, actually.
Yeah, centralization with the queen makes sense. When in doubt, centralize your queen. The one thing I know about queen endgames is that nobody knows anything about queen endgames. They're that difficult. You just have to guess at some point. You have so many options. Black's queen had 5 or 6 viable squares. Why not choose the center? Just make that quick decision. And Magnus, I don't think there's anyone as good in queen endgames as Magnus in history. So if anyone can win it, it should be him. Objectively, though, it feels like Black should be safe enough because the white king isn't exactly protected either. We could definitely see a perpetual check later if the black queen is able to start harassing the enemy king. So Hikaru, if he's able, should be able to hold this, but 3 minutes. I really fear for him on the clock. Magnus needs to speed up, just bring that white queen back somewhere to safety and just keep the tension. Keep asking those questions. Black's king not finding any safe squares anytime soon.
That's the problem, is the safe squares. I might actually find safety if I can by actually moving the king forward. As you saw with the Fabi game, Hikaru, when the king went all the way up to g4. Something similar like that, because if I can get my king to maybe f4 and then take, so that's not going to be allowed now. So maybe just king g6.
Magnus spent a long time on that move, though, over a minute. And with only a few minutes left with Armageddon format, that it could be vital later. Now the black king advances. White's pawns now under fire on the queen side. Black's queen may be threatening to go and capture them in the next move or two. Yeah. Magnus needs to defend for a move.
Hikaru brings the king into the game, playing the role of a key defender for the king's side pawns. So playing with whatever is left makes a lot of sense. Meanwhile, White's king isn't that active. It looks like Magnus's hopes are purely on the clock right now.
And Hikaru's thinking, can I take this pawn on b2? Magnus brings his king up. I thought he was going to push the pawn that was under attack to save it. And Hikaru's looking at it. He wants to snack on it. And I feel like what the problem for Magnus right now is even if he starts throwing this game, his advantage out the window, he needs to start making moves more quickly. Hikaru would punish Magnus if the colors were reversed on the clock. Magnus needs to do the same.
Yeah, Magnus, he's a great speed player, of course, but his mouse skills, I don't know if they match Hikaru's. And, okay, still extra minute on the clock. He does fix the structure on the queen side, and the black king runs in that direction. Actually, if the queens disappear, Magnus has great winning chances right now. Can he force that in a favorable situation? Advancing, leading from the front, the white king.
I was not expecting that move.
Yeah, king f3 definitely is a nice move, because I'm like zugged out, meaning zugzwang. Like, what do I do as black? I just have to shuffle back and forth.
Yeah, queen f5 was a big turn, and g6, a huge blunder. What did Hikaru miss here? What is the winning move?
It might have been queen e6. It might have been queen e6.
What was the winning move?
Trade him in king g4.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Forcing the queens off was winning. James is right. Just a couple of moves ago, this was not obvious at all for a human.
I said a lot of Devereski there, pawn in games, right? Queen e6 takes, and then king g4, king f6, and I think he's zugged out, f3.
Let's quickly show that, James. Queen swap, and as you mentioned, it is zugzwang. This position, black needs to defend his pawns, and here white can just wait. For example, black's king can even hit this one, and you have another waiting move. You just push
D3,
this pawn.
And then take the pawn. Yeah. And GG, you win.
Wow.
Sick.
And second event in a row where Hikaru is fortunate, because against Wesley So in the Air Things Masters, this was exactly what was happening in a queen endgame. A queen trade could have led to a win for Wesley, but I think this is not over for Hikaru. Magnus is going to keep the game going. Look at the clocks. Magnus is up nearly 40 seconds, and the defensive task, just because the king is run to the queen side, it's not over for Hikaru.
Yeah, this one, he's going to have to defend backs to the wall for the rest of this game, at least another 50 moves, and he's going to have to keep pace on the clock. Look at the two kings. They're running to safety. We said there's never going to be safety for them. They're hiding from any potential checks on that side.
David, the clock, it's getting level there. So it will come down to some dirty flagging by both of them. If the queens get traded, it is advantage Magnus simply because of Hikaru's horrible pawn structure for a king-pawn ending. But till the queens are alive, Hikaru, it's game on. He just needs a draw.
Yeah, he just needs a draw. And, wow, 10 seconds in it now. Magnus's camera also froze for a second. This is very relevant. Is his internet connection able to hold up? He's in France. Yeah.
Another big king move. I mean, he's playing unexpected king moves. First to F3, now to B3, and Hikaru gives up D6.
He wants to take E4.
Is there a perpetual check?
Does he pick up the E4
Wait,
pawn?
he's
Does he
checking.
start checking?
Check.
Start checking that white king.
Check. He goes B3. There's no perpetual yet. He zigzagged to A3 and B3 after.
Wow, Hikaru now tanking for 20 seconds. He needs to move. I don't think you can get away with just grabbing that white pawn in the center. White would then be the one giving the checks, gaining time on the clock. You need to check and just hope for the best. You need to move.
But look at the clock.
Correct.
He's on a 1 minute, 15 seconds. This is not
Make a
good.
move.
Unless he has a draw by force, he is going to be in trouble of being flagged.
You have to check.
It's a bullet game now.
King
You
A3.
have to go king A3. Only move.
Correct.
Where
Like
is the
again,
draw?
B3.
B3.
No more
that's all.
checks.
But queen C3, does queen C6 check? I don't know what happens to the queen trade there.
What about centralize and then thread mate, right? And then check everywhere else.
Yeah.
He has a check, but then I run A6.
He's got to work it out with less than a minute on his clock. Can he afford a queen trade? Can he threaten checkmate, trap that white king somehow on the edge of the board? He needs to find an accurate move. If he makes a slip now, Hikaru, he's losing.
Queen B1.
I think, though, there's always queen C6 back to C3. So he goes here. I think Magnus can go queen C6 check and bring his queen back to defense. As long as you don't allow a perpetual check, he can flag Hikaru.
Yeah, he can flag Hikaru. Just give a couple of checks first, a couple of quick checks, gain time on the clock, and then retreat that white queen.
Yes.
There's no increment, though. Well, he does give a check. If he comes back, there is a check on A1. Where do you retreat with your queen?
Back to C1, to the first rank. I know you're giving up a pawn F2. You maybe find yourself in a losing position at some point, but you need to beat him on the clock. He only has 45 seconds.
Yeah, 45 seconds. Just check, make your opponent react. That's how you kind of gain time, especially considering your opponent's lower. But Magnus is too slow. Again, not switching to that Armageddon mindset. You've got to be nasty. You've got to be mean here. Just flag.
That's right. He's definitely, when the time gets closer, Hikaru does get a little bit stronger here. Yep, there it is. He pushed and immediately made a move here.
Oh,
wow.
But that move, the eval bar went up. So white can maybe, well, queen E1. You have the A1 square covered. You protect your pawn. You may just start throwing that pass one off the board. He plays it.
That's gross.
And you've got the B4 square covered as well. No checks for black.
Just push the pawn. Just throw
Oh,
it.
He
my
does
goodness.
it. He finds it in 30 seconds for Hikaru. Can he stop the E pawn from advancing, or is this just game over?
I think he's going to block it with his queen, but then he has no more checks.
Yeah, and then the black queen will be purely passive. It's going to be one-way traffic. The white queen is going to activate herself now, and you can play forever this position, Magnus. But 5-6 seconds in it. Wow, it's all about the clock now. It's a winning position for white, we think,
Oh
or at
my
least a
God.
better position. But is it enough on the clock?
Apparently he's made a mistake, but he is up a few seconds. This is going to come down to the wire,
Make
everybody.
a move, Hikaru. He does it. What?
I mean, he can't trade queens. The black king would be too close.
King E7.
Yeah.
I mean, D8. On the move, right?
19
Any
seconds.
safe
He's going to
square.
flag him.
Any safe square for black?
Perpetual coming.
Oh my God.
Oh, queen C2 check. So you have a counter check if black checks on the second rank. So he's checking in diagonals. Wow, king B1.
Got to move.
Oh, no more checks.
Oh, and what's happened there?
What happened?
We see a reaction. Magnus is mouse.
Oh, no!
Oh my God. Did he pre-move?
He mouse slipped.
Oh, and Hikaru there celebrating. Magnus mouse slipped, blundering into that queen. What an end. And Hikaru Nakamura takes this match.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
What a finish. We didn't
Wow.
expect that. We thought it might be decided on the board, decided on the clock, but not with a mouse slip. And Magnus, yeah.
Man, furious. Furious.